Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the Mikestand. Um, if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream and seeing if we can get some more friendly people on here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. So I guess with some more, we got three people here, so um, I'll go ahead and kind of. I guess we've dropped back down to two. Somebody left us. Okay, well, we'll wait a few minutes, give people a chance to show up here. Um, all right. So, anyways, all right. So as we're waiting, I'll put some music on. I'm gonna take care of something real quick here. Be right back. Um, put some music on to entertain you while I'm gone for a quick moment. I'll be right back. Righty, I'm back. I hope everybody's having a good evening tonight. There we go. All right, so with that, let's see, we're up to 4 minutes now, so let's go over what's on tap for tonight. So, got four articles from Bounding into Comics we're going to go over tonight. Um, let's see. Among those, of course, we got some news coming out of Viz Media from a few days ago, from Tuesday, a couple days ago here. We're going to talk a little bit about the Scott Adams Dilbert situation. Let's see. We also we got a little article about Yellow Flash lampooning Warner Brothers for renewing Velma. And of course, we got some news coming out of Toei in regards to Dragon Ball Superhero. So with that, those four articles we'll be going over, plus the wrestling roundup in this day and age history. So without any further ado, let's go ahead Get ourselves ready to get going here. Here we go with that. All right. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get started here. And yes, you see Gone Freaks of Hunter x Hunter, Naruto Uzumaki from Naruto, and whether you want to call her Usagi Usagi Tsukino or Serena or Sailor Moon, whichever one from Sailor Moon. Viz Media makes multiple anime series available for free viewing on YouTube, including Hunter x Hunter, Naruto, and Sailor Moon. Article by Nerdigans, published February 28th, which was a couple days ago, on Tuesday. The latest anime studio to combine fan appreciation with an effective anti-piracy measure. Viz Media has recently moved to make a handful of their classic anime series free to watch for anyone looking to get their fix of the East's best offerings. As announced by the studio on February 16th, fans can catch subtitled versions of hundreds of Viz anime episodes and movies via their official YouTube channel. Of course, the one catch is that those viewers who don't have YouTube Red or an effective ad blocker will have to sit through various ads while watching, but it's the smallest price to pay for quality entertainment. And quality is the name of Viz Media's free-to-watch game, as their newly uploaded offerings include Death Note from 2006, Madhouse's animated adaptation of Tsugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata's classic psychological thriller manga. Death Note follows a genius, Light Yagami, a young genius who takes it upon himself to change the world using the titular Death Note. There's some pretty gritty stuff here. Of course, the world doesn't take kindly to a single individual picking off people according to their own whims. And soon, Light, operating under the alias Kira, which some people would say, because of Japanese phonetics and stuff, translates to killer or killa, finds himself in a cat and mouse game with the mysterious Detective L. Equal parts supernatural murder mystery and police procedural, Death Note twists and turns will keep you enthralled from start to finish. The 2011 version of Hunter x Hunter. This is the more recent one that, of course, was on um, was on um, was on was on Toonami about a couple years ago or so. And just as a reminder, if you guys can like and share the stream and see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to do my best to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So with that, let's get back to the article here. We got 5 people viewing now. Good. So the 2011 Hunter x Hunter series, another shonen classic, the entirety of the aforementioned Madhouse's 2011 adaptation of Hunter x Hunter is also now available for fans to view free of charge. Now, for those of you who say, why am I saying Hunter? I'm not saying Well, I think in a lot of Japanese titles here, X acts more like a punctuation mark as opposed to an actual letter. It's kind of like a hyphen, I think, in Japanese phonetics. So, um, based on Yoshihiro Togashi's original manga of the same name, Hunter x Hunter follows the exploits of Gon Freaks, a young man who seeks to become a hunter, an individual licensed to seek out treasure animals or exotic locales in order to reunite with his father, an accomplished hunter by the name of Jing. However, Gon's path forward is far less than simple, as along the way he'll find himself having to successfully pass his own hunter exam, literally trapped within a video game, and facing down a massive insects, the Chimera Ant Park, as we know. From 2001, Inuyasha, another classic that many of us have watched on Toonami before. Before the isekai boom of the late 2010s, Sunrise were taking audiences to an alternate history Japan with their adaptation of Rumiko Tamaki's popular Inuyasha. There's Kagome and Inuyasha right there. In 1990s Tokyo, teenager Kagome Hirogashi leads an average life, splitting her time between social and helping out around her family's shrine, or between school and helping out around her family's shrine. But on the morning of her 15th birthday, the young woman is suddenly attacked and abducted by a monstrous yokai who seeks to use the Shikon jewel hidden within Kagome's body to augment their own power. Yeah, so it was Mr. Centipede. Thankfully, she manages to escape with the help of a dog-eared fox yokai by the name of Inuyasha, who soon after informs her that not only is she no longer in Tokyo, but that she has somehow traveled back in time to the 1500s. That's a lot to take in, isn't it? With Inuyasha in tow and a special necklace around his neck that allows Kagome to keep her companion's more violent tendencies under wraps, Kagome and all the allies she meets along the way, in parentheses here, sets out to prevent the powerful yokai Naraku from obtaining the jewel's powers for themselves. Look at those red eyes and the blood on his hands. See if anybody. And again, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Also, if you can help me out by liking and sharing the show, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. That would be terrific. Anyways, continuing on here. From 2015, Mr. Osomatsu, a reboot of the 1966 anime adaptation of Fujio Akatsuka's 1962 manga, Mr. Osomatsu, will give even most unambitious of NEETs a blueprint for doing life proper. Okay. Taking place 10 years after the events of the original anime, Mr. Osomatsu finds the original sextuplets all grown up. But rather than having made something of themselves, the six brothers have instead devolved into a life of laziness and perpetual virginity. Oh boy. Okay. Of course, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And the brothers are still as mischievous as ever. In parentheses here, their hijinks may be a bit more adult oriented than before, but still. Uh, Filled with nonstop jokes from everything from the pressures of society, the harsh realities of dating, and parental disappointment in their offspring, in parentheses here, as well as including innumerable parodies of classic Japanese media. Mr. Osomatsu is hands down one of the best comedy anime series in recent memory. Naruto 2002. Of course, one of my favorites. I'm sure a lot of people's favorites out there as well. Um, a regular consideration for Japan's Big Three, and one of the biggest titles to ever make it stateside, anime adaptation of Masashi Kishimoto's Naruto is now available in all of its early 2000s glory. Ever since he was born, Naruto has been ostracized by his hometown of Hidden Leaf Village. The reason? When he was born, his body was used as an emergency containment vessel for the violent nine-tailed fox demon Kurama, which prior to its capture had made his name by terrorizing the village. However, despite being the target of the village's ire, or possibly in spite of, Naruto has set his sights on achieving a goal which will earn him the unquestioning respect of his community, becoming the leader of the entire Hidden Leaf Village, also known as Hokage, or as translated Fire Shadow of the Hidden Leaf Village. There's Sasuke and Sakura right there in their Naruto form. Of course, in typical shonen fashion, Naruto's simple goals are soon derailed when he and his friends, namely his fellow Team 7 members, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and their captain Kakashi Hatake, find themselves embroiled in an ongoing battle between multiple ninja factions. From the all-out clash between Gaara and Rock Lee during the Chunin exam, in parentheses, frankly, the entirety of the former's arc is probably our favorite part of the entire series, to Sasuke's backstabbing decision to abandon the Hidden Leaf Village in favor of training with the rogue Orochimaru. The entirety of Naruto's pre-Shippuden adventures can now be relived via YouTube. And there's Sasuke embracing the curse mark. Get your Neats news on the Mikestand. Tweeted. All right. Well, thanks, RJ. Ah, and thanks for the like as well. So as we continue on here, Sailor Moon 99. Now, Sailor Moon originally came out, I think, in 92, not 95, but that. Last but not least, rounding out Viz's first round of uploads is another anime which many would consider to be their gateway into the world of anime, Sailor Moon. Now, Sailor Moon is a bit more controversial because, for at least on the dubbing side of it, because a lot of us also watched the Deke dub, which many would consider to be quite watered down as compared to the later Viz dub. But initially, with the Deke dub, they tried to make it more kid friendly, so therefore, any mention of like death or killing was taken out of the show. Also, numerous character changes to kind of eliminate any LGBTQ, propaganda as well. Anyways, um, the first anime adaptation of Naoko Takeuchi's seminal manga, Sailor Moon, follows middle schooler Usagi Tsukino, who, after discovering she is the reincarnation of an ancient and powerful goddess, fights evil by moonlight in her costumed identity as the titular hero. Fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight. For anybody who remembers the song, the opening theme to it. Far from alone, Usagi is joined in the ongoing battle. Usagi, of course, in the Deke dub was called Serena, by the way. In her ongoing battle against the villainous Queen Beryl and her Dark Kingdom by her friends and her fellow Sailor Guardians, or Sailor Scouts for those who grew up watching Deke's English dub, which is true. Each of whom possesses their own set of respective talents and special abilities. And you got Sailor Moon in the center there, and over her right up top there from left to right, you have Lita. You have Sailor Jupiter, Sailor Mars, Tuxedo Mask, and then below Serena you have um, Sailor Venus and Sailor Mercury. Thankfully for Sailor Moon fans, unlike Naruto, each and every part of the series' multi-season run has been uploaded by Viz. The series as a whole kicks off with the Sailor Guardians' origin stories, as well as the first major clash with Queen Beryl in the simply named Sailor Moon. From there, Chibiusa arrives and asks the Sailor Guardians to help her in protecting the future against the villainous Wise Men and the Black Moon Clan in Sailor Moon R. Next up is Sailor Moon S, wherein the Sailor Guardians team up with outer Sailor Guardians Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and of course Saturn to silence the Deathbusters organization planned for world domination. There's Hotaru, aka Sailor Saturn. Then in Sailor Moon Super S or Supers, the circus comes to town, and we aren't talking about Ringley Brothers or Cirque du Soleil. Um, with dreams of using the legendary gold crystal found within the winged horse Pegasus to obtain eternal youth, Queen Linia, um, orders her dead moon circus hunt down the innocent creature. Unable to stand for Queen Nehelenia's merciless ambitions, the Sailor Guardians put themselves between Villainous and her goals. There's Chibi Usa right there, or Rini, for those who watch the Deep Cloveway dubs, and Pegasus right there. Finally, Sailor Moon Stars closes out the series by showing the Sailor Guardians team up with the mysterious Sailor Starlights to face their greatest obstacle yet, the would-be conqueror of the Milky Way, known as Sailor Galaxia, as well as her team of corrupted Sailor Guardians. In this series, I haven't seen actually. Oh, there we go with that one. Huh. All right. So anyway, so there we go with that one. So now let's get ready to move on to the next article. Let me just check the time here. And we're making good time thus far. As I said, we had 4 articles to go over. So the next one we're going to delve into here is we're going to talk about situation going on with Scott Adams creator Dilbert. Now, I kind of had seen some of this a little bit, but I hadn't been paying a whole lot of attention. So this is the first article we're going to read on this. So as I understand it, apparently Adams got into some kind of trouble because apparently he's made some kind of, he either holds some views and or has made some what people are saying are racist comments. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Dilbert dropped by publisher after creator Scott Adams accused of holding racist views and promoting segregation. Article by Josh Berger, published today, published earlier today. So, the long-running comic strip Dilbert has been widely dropped from publication after its creator Scott Adams was falsely accused of being both a racist and a segregationalist. Okay, let's see what they have to say on this. Adams came under scrutiny after addressing a poll conducted by Rasmussen Reports, which found that only a very small percentage of Black Americans disagreed with the statement, quote unquote, it's okay to be white. Only a small disagreement. According to the poll of the 1,000 individuals surveyed from across various ethnic and political groups, roughly 18% of Black respondents, or roughly 180 individuals, asserted that they strongly disagree with the statement as presented. Only 18% strongly disagree with it's okay to be white. Okay. Similarly, 8% of Black respondents, or 80 individuals, somewhat disagreed with the statement, while 21%, or 210 individuals, were not sure how they felt about the phrase. So, strongly disagree that it's okay to be white, or somewhat disagree that it's okay to be white. Okay. So, does that mean they generally agree that it's okay to be white, I guess? Taking notice of the poll on or around February 22nd, which would be about a week ago yesterday, um, Adams carved time out of the day's episode of Real Coffee with Scott Adams to comment on ridicule, even its results. Comment on ridicule, even its results. Quote, Rasmussen had a provocative little poll today, unquote, prefaced the author. They said, in small quotes, do you agree or disagree with the statement that, in small quotes, it's okay to be white, unsmall quote. That was an actual question. So I guess what he's saying was the poll itself was probably stupid. I think that's what it sounds like. That's what, based on this statement, anyways, it sounds like that he probably thought the poll itself was stupid, and I kind of would agree with that. I mean, does it really matter if if we're black, white, red? Well, ultimately, we're all still people. We all still have the same inner workings. We still all have the same you know same desires, the same, maybe not the exact same desires, but you get what I mean. Same basic human desires: shelter, food, companionship. you know. So, from the sounds of it, though, at least based on what little I've read thus far here in the article, just sounds like he probably thought the question in and of itself was probably ridiculous. He further noted, quote, Rasmussen asked white and black voters, and probably others, quote, do you disagree with the statement that, in smaller quotes, it's okay to be white, unquote. 26% of blacks said no. No, they don't disagree. No, it's not okay to be white. 21% weren't sure. Okay. Quote, adding together, that is 47% of black respondents were not willing to say it's okay to be white. Adams summarized of the 470 individuals who provided such negative answers, quote, that's like a real poll. This just happened. Did you have any idea? Would you have imagined that could happen? Unquote. Well, thus far, he sounds like he's more in disbelief that we even have the poll to begin with here. Making a comment that was obviously meant to be taken as lighthearted humor, the artist then said, quote, as you know, I've been identifying as black for a while because I like to be on the winning team and I like to help. Oh boy. Don't tell me he's well, I don't know if that's supposed to be funny or what. Or if he's just trying to poke fun at SJWs with that one. Quote, I always thought, in small quote, well, if you help the black community, that's the biggest lever, unquote, Adams exclaimed. Quote, you know, you can find the biggest benefit. So I thought, in smaller quotes, well, that's the hardest thing and the biggest benefit. So I like to focus on a lot of my life resources in helping black Americans. Okay, doesn't necessarily sound racist or, well, I mean, depending upon how you're meaning racist. I mean, if he's saying it because he himself feels that blacks are inferior, that could be taken as racist. But then but the fact is that the question itself is somewhat of a bait because, you know, it's almost like, who cares if you're black or white or yellow or orange or what have you? Quote, so much so that I started, quote, so much so that I started identifying as black, unquote, then revealed, quote, to just be on the team I was helping. But it turns out that nearly half of that team doesn't think I'm okay to be white, unsmaller quote, which is, of course, why I identified as black so I could be on the winning team for a while. Oh boy. Oh boy. This whole thing sounds kind of ridiculous, quite honestly. Explaining that he isn't always easily influenced by poll results, he admits that Rasmussen's latest survey didn't manage to change his mind, declaring that he normally gives little weight to such polls. Adams admitted, quote, I have to say, this is the first political poll that ever changed my activities, unquote. Quote, I don't know that that's ever happened before, unquote, the befuddled creator continued. Quote, normally you see a poll, you just look at it and you go, whatever. Yeah, oh, this is interesting, what other people think, unquote. He went on, quote, But as of today, I'm going to re-identify as white because I don't want to be a member of a hate group. I had accidentally joined a hate group, so nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to the poll, not according to me, according to this poll. That's a hate group, unquote. Now, thus far, nothing in his reasoning here, nothing in what he said. I think any intelligent person could actually see, any reasonably intelligent person could actually see the good reasoning of his line of thinking here. Okay, he's if anything, he's kind of shining a very bright light on some of the fallacies of the SJW's thought process. That's just my take on what. I mean, there's nothing here that would indicate to me, or I think any reasonably intelligent person, that that Scott Adams is a racist, he holds racist views, or that he's a segregationalist. Sounds like some SJW, whiners decided to go after this guy just to make themselves feel better. See if anybody chimed in yet. No, I guess not. And if you haven't already, if you can like and share this thing, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. Do the best I can to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Let's further see what else has been said here. Quote, and I don't want to have anything to do with them, unquote, he affirmed in follow-up. Okay. I can see where some whacked out SJW who probably belongs in a rubber room somewhere probably would think that that means he's a segregationalist. He's not being a segregationalist there. He's not. I don't think he's really saying that he wants to be. He wants to not have anything to do with black people. I think he's saying he doesn't want to have anything to do with black people who act like a hate group, who they themselves are the racist. That's my take on it. I think what he's kind of in a very, very casual way of saying it is, I think he's basically calling out black people, some of these black people, some of these SJW's very own racism against white people. I don't think that's him being segregationist or him being racist. I think if anything, he's calling out their racism. So, quote, and I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the bleep away. Wherever you have to go, just get away, because there's no fixing this, unquote. All right. Maybe that wasn't the most articulate way of saying it. As I said earlier, I think what his intention is, and I think he should make that a little clearer too here. Not he shouldn't say black people or all black people. He should denote the black people, the specific black people he's talking about, the ones who hold those very racist opinions against white people. They're the ones that I think he means you should stay away from. Because 47% collectively believe that in some form or another it's not okay to be white. There's still 53% that agree that it's okay to be white. So there's still the majority of black people who don't have an issue with somebody being white. And those are the ones you should really be hanging out with. They're probably the ones who are making more positive contributions to the world and not trying to bring everybody down or trying to play victim all the time. Quote, this can't be fixed, unquote, he argued. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population because unfortunately there's high correlation between density and this, according to in brackets here, CNN anchor Don Lemon, by the way, unquote. Oh, so here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. Okay, so he's actually saying something that a black man actually acknowledged. Okay, so trying to turn so are you then going to try to sit there and say that Don Lemon is maybe racist against his own people? I mean, let me show you something. That's Don Lemon, I believe, right there. He's black. And he's saying that there are problems in black neighborhoods that aren't in white neighborhoods. This is a black man saying it. So, so you want to try to play the race card on that? That's kind of stupid. Adams recounted, quote, so even Don Lemon sees a big difference in your own quality of living based on where you live and who's there, unquote. Ultimately, Adams declared, quote, I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. Well, I don't know. First off, I think if you can, you should try to help people when you can. Okay? Shouldn't matter if they're white, black, man, woman, Hispanic, Asian, European, what have you. Should always be neighborly to your neighbors, regardless of who or what they are. Let's see. Again, nothing that Scott Adams has said would indicate to me that there's anything racist or segregationalist about anything he said there. I think he could have said it a little better and again denote the differences between the 47% who say it's not okay or disagreed with the saying that it's okay to be white and the 53% who seem to be more okay with it. The fact is, you still have a majority of them who still have a majority of black people who think that it's okay to be white. Yeah, 47% is coming pretty close to 50%, but it's not 50%. It's not half of the population. It's still a little less than half the population. Adams' mention of Lemon refers to a 2013 appearance made by the CNN This Morning host on the network's sister show, CNN's Newsroom, wherein he listed 5 steps that black Americans could take to start fixing their community. Oh, Here's number 5. Pull up your pants, unquote, began Lemon. Quote, walking around with your bleep and your underwear showing is not okay. You know, I think that statement was said once before too. I don't know. No, I guess it wasn't. But I think that's kind of the same attitude that you saw in Boys in the Hood too, starring Lawrence Fishburne. You know, I think they made that same point. Actually, it was Bill Cosby who actually said it. Believe it or not, about the idea of pulling up your pants and not showing your Jonays. In fact, it comes from prison when they take away belt from the prisoner so they can't make a weapon like a noose or something like that. And then it evolved into which role a prisoner would have during male on male. Okay, you probably don't need that visual. The one with the really low pants is a submissive one. You get my point. Oh God. And this is supposed to be an enlightened individual? Quite the script there, Mr. Lemon. At number 4 came Lemon's recommendation that the black community refrain from using the N-word. I'll continue with this in a moment. I gotta step away from the computer for a moment. I'll be right back. right, sorry about that. Let's get back to the article here. And then into this. With the TV personality explaining, quote, by promoting the use of that word when it's not germane to the conversation, have you ever considered that you may just be perpetuating the stereotype the master intended, acting like a bleep? Well, he does make some good arguments here. For his third point, the CNN anchor declared, quote, respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witnessed people littering. Quote, I live in Harlem now, unquote, he recalled. Quote, it's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day, I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Now, of course, if a white person was saying all this, they'd get accused of being racist or segregationalist and all that. But Don Lemon is black, so nobody really chastised him for saying a lot of this stuff. Quote, number 2, finish school, unquote. Which I believe even Lawrence Fishburne's character Furious Styles said in Boys in the Hood. Lemon continued his list, quote, you want to break the cycle of poverty? Start telling kids they're acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. Quote, a high school dropout makes an average of $19,000 a year, he detailed. Quote, a high school graduate makes $28,000 a year. A college graduate makes $51,000 a year over the course of a career. A college grad will make nearly $1 million more than a high school graduate. That's a lot of money. Again, a lot of this stuff he's saying is true, people. It's not racist or segregationalist to think this way. Pointing to a 2010 study conducted by the CDC's the National Vital Statistics System, which concluded that, quote, the proportions of non-marital births may vary among population subgroups. In 2010, these proportions were 17% for API, 29% for, I guess, Asian Pacific Islander, 29% for non-Hispanic white, 53% for Hispanic, 66% for AI, which I guess means American Indian, American Native, I guess. And 73% non-Hispanic black births. Lemon ultimately closed out his list by sharing what he considered to be, quote, probably the most important, in brackets, thing black Americans can do to help, unbracketed. Just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. Again, these are a lot of this stuff is what a lot of conservatives would say. But if a white conservative says it, of course, it's racist or segregationalist. But if a black person says it, okay, then it's okay. Really? Why should it matter who says it? The advice is good. Can each. Yeah, well, Woody, we're talking about Scott Adams here, the guy who created Dilbert, comic strip, and the comic strip Dilbert. Apparently, he's getting canceled for supposedly holding racist views and being a segregationalist. When some of the things that he actually says were said initially by Don Lemon. So, racist. Yeah. Yeah. So, quote, more than 72% of children in African American community are born out of wedlock, unquote, said Lemon. Quote, that means absent fathers, and the studies show the lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison. The cycle continues. I seem to remember there being a movie that pushed the same idea. What was that movie called again? It starred Lawrence Fishburne, Angela Bassett, Ice Cube, Omar Gooding. Oh yeah, Boys in the Hood. They made a lot of the same points in Boys in the Hood. But despite raising the same points that even the ideologically poisoned Lemon would have agreed with just a little over a decade ago, and publicly no less, Adams has since found himself facing outright cancellation for his opinions. While numerous publications would respond to the author's comment by dropping Dilbert from their pages, quote, with a Washington Post spokesperson even apologizing for being unable to remove the strip's Sunday edition before the paper was published, unparenthesed. The most prominent entity to distance themselves from Adams was his publisher, Andrews McMeel Universal. Oh, God. Sounds so stupid. Taking to Twitter on February 26th, which was this past Sunday, the noted comic strip publishing and syndication house announced that not only would they be, quote, severing our relationship with Dilbert creator Scott Adams, unquote, but that this decision would, quote, extend to all areas of our business with Adams and the Dilbert comic strip, unquote. Quote, as a media and communications company, AMU values free speech, unquote, said the publisher. Really? But you're basically denying Mr. Adams his right to free speech by canceling him. Quote, we are proud to promote and share many different voices and perspectives, but we will never support any commentary rooted in discrimination or hate. Again, what Adams said, I don't think even borders on any of that. If anything, instead of going after Adams, maybe they should be going after the 47% who said that they disagreed with it's okay to be white. It's, who disagreed with the statement it's okay to be white. Maybe they're the ones they should be going after. But see what you guys may have to say here. The poll that added no and don't know near 50-50 for its okie to be white. Yeah, that's basic. It was a Rasmussen poll, Woody, that they're talking about. Hate is something they cannot see within themselves. Very true. Very true. It's a lot of this just seems to be a lot of projection going on here. Let's see. Recent comments by Scott Adams regarding race and race relations do not align with our core values as a company. That's because you guys are a bunch of idiots who really are not using your head. Maybe you should get dig your head out of your rear end, you ding dongs. Quote, our creator first approach is foundational to AMU. We deeply value our relationships with our creators, unquote. Apparently not with Scott Adams, though. Apparently you guys are hypocritical on that statement when it comes to Scott Adams. Quote, however, in the case with Adams, our vision and principles are not compatible. Yeah, you guys are hypocrites. Anyways. All right. So, anyways, that's enough of that article. And again, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, that help to get some more friendly people seeing this. Also, as Woody has been doing, if you guys, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions on the and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability here. So let's see. Is Dilbert's tie phallic? I don't know, and I don't know, and I really, it's not something I think I want to really investigate. Yeah, I don't really think so. Oh boy. Anyways, let's get ready to move on to the next article here. Let's see, where are we at on time? Oh, we're just past the hour mark. We're making good time with these 4 articles here. That one though was quite a doozy, to say the least. All right, so we're gonna get to these last couple of, and of course they're talking about our old buddy Yellow Flash. Laugh out loud. Thanks, Mike. No problem, Woody. Anyways, let's move on to the next article. Everybody, of course, knows the very infamous pole dancing scene Velma did for her father in the HBO Max series. Anyways, YouTuber Yellow Flash lampoons Warner Brothers for renewing Trashfire Velma for season 2. Now, as we've stated before, as I've covered before, because I know that Vera Dark had mentioned this too. They may have been kind of forced to, because they may have been contractually obligated to do a season 2, even if the show, stunk like a skunk. So, anyways, let's get into this now. Hope everybody's enjoying the articles thus far. So, YouTuber Yellow Flash lampoons Warner Brothers for renewing Trashfire Velma for season 2. Article by J.B. Augustine, published earlier today. Against all odds and despite universally negative reviews, it can be officially reported Velma is getting a second season at HBO Max. Most predicted the opposite happening, but the show appears to have its fans, especially where it counts at the top of Warner Brothers Television, and the biggest supporter might be the head of Warner Brothers TV. Yeah, again, I think from everything I've been hearing, the only reason this show got a second season because they were contractually obligated to do at least 2 seasons. Because I don't think any with as bad as this show was, and even the hate watchers are going to stop watching it after a while. Because it's probably just pretty stupid. Pop culture commentator and content creator Yellow Flash observed that the decision to renew Velma came from WB-TV chairwoman Channing Dungray. Now, I really would like, I kind of wish James Lee was able to join us on Sunday nights, but I know he's working right now only because being that he is kind of he is an investor in Warner Brothers Discovery, I'd like to hear his take on all this. Let's see. Who was nominated for a position in late 2020 and started immediately the following year. Note that this period was when the company was still Warner Media, owned by AT&T, and made the audacious call to dump their theatrical release on HBO Max. And mind you, when this lady was hired, it was probably before David Zaslav came in. Wonder what he'd be thinking. I think James Lee would probably know better than anybody. But anyways, Dungy's input on that is debatable. If she had any, but her rise to power speaks volumes about the chaos at Warner that continues. As a producer, she only has 4 noteworthy credits to her name, chief among them being the cinematic adaptation of Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire sequel story, Queen of the Damned, which was pretty awful all around. Back to current TV ventures, Dunn behind the new Night Court, which Yellow Flash did not know about, and that Richard Mall, unfortunately, is not part of. And to hit Ted Lasso, when it came time to justify the second season of Velma, Deadline touted it as, quote, the most watched animated series debut ever, unquote, for HBO Max. Which some people have argued may not be saying much. Anyways, continuing on here. Paying no mind to the number of viewers, some with YouTube channels, who freely admit they couldn't make it through the first episode. Deadline fails to provide ratings or figures that prove Velma's singular achievement means anything. Quote, where are the numbers for this show if they're so proud of it? Inquired Yellow Flash, who wants to see the Nielsen's for weeks 2 and 3. Yeah, and he commented on that quite a bit. That we'll see what Nielsen had to say. The baffled YouTuber doesn't think the ratings can be good and can't believe season 2 is coming when the quote target audience woke people hate the show unquote as well, noting that the target audience of the show hates it quote unquote. And mind you, the underlying theory is why they got a second show is because they were even before the first season started, or the reason they got a second season is because even before the first season started, they were already contractually obligated to do a second season. That's the underlying theory there. There are positive reviews and videos out there favorable to Velma, but they only garner a few 100,000 views each, which doesn't add up to a good fan base for a show to rely on. Quote, ask Batwoman, unquote, rhetorically notes Yellow Flash. Again, Velma is largely considered unfunny and too cringe-inducing to attract an audience. Quote, it's up there with, in brackets, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, unbracketed. So I'm kind of blown away by this. I have to say, I didn't see this one coming, he added. Regardless, the cartoon's executive producer, Mindy Kaling, is getting more gigs. Yellow Flash says, quote, Mindy Kaling is getting more work, by the way, which is wild to me because she's literally not talented. Her shows are not funny, but she's apparently getting a bunch of work at Amazon as well, unquote. As a YouTuber mentions, Kaling has signed a deal with ROP's maker, Amazon, to produce more shows with Dungy and the creators of Mac's original Hacks. Quote, don't know anything about Hacks. I know Mindy Kaling's a hack. Yeah, I think I do remember hearing him say that. Yellow Flash mocked, maybe she should be on Hacks. This just blows me away, unquote. The YouTuber sees a silver lining in Warner Brothers' decision to renew Velma for a second season, and Mindy Kaling signing a deal with Amazon. Quote, well, I guess it's going to give me a lot of content, so it'll work out, unquote. Yellow Flash noted. Quote, I mean, in brackets, Velma has been so bad, I've been able to make a ton of content on it because it gets worse even when the show is not on the bleep to talk about. Are you baffled by Velma's season 2 announcement? Please give us your thoughts. Well, if as there are Dark and a few others have pointed out, if they were already contractually obligated to do a season 2, regardless of how season 1 did, then you can't be overly baffled. I mean, yeah, you would think that a show that had like a 1.3 rating on IMDb, that's considered, I think, considered by their standards the worst animated show of all time, and the third worst rated show of all time, period. I think with those kind of credentials, yeah, why would you give it a season 2? It deserves to be balled up, wipe your you know what with it, and toss it in the toilet. So there we go with that one. So we have one more article to go over. If you guys, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, so we can get some more friendly people in here. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment or ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer the questions to the best of my ability. We have one more article to go over tonight here. this more from the anime realm of things. So, going from a trash fire to one of the most successful animes of all time. Anyways, Dragon Ball Super superhero staff reveal production team was unhappy with decision to animate film solely using 3D CGI. Article by Nerdicans published earlier today. So this was, I guess, the most recent article published by my founding in the comments. So let's see what they have to say here. The past decade has seen the executives at Toei Animation make a number of questionable business decisions regarding their properties. Look no further than their nightmarish treatment of Saint Seiya, and it seems that the company's resulting uh, production woes have finally started to affect arguably their biggest franchise, Dragon Ball. Word of the trouble being caused by franchise's burgeoning reliance on 3D animation in its cinematic outings has seen briefly during Gogeta and Broly's final fight in Dragon Ball Super Broly, and throughout the entirety of Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Was first noted by the film's producer Tomohiro Hayashida during a December 23rd, I guess, I think the interview is supposed to be in there, with Shueisha Online. According to Hayashida, not only were the costs to produce Dragon Ball Super Superheroes in 3D so high that it would have actually been more cost effective to animate everything in 2D, but also most of the staff at Toei Animation were wholly against the film being animated solely via computer graphics. Then, during a February 24th panel, which was, I guess, last Friday, held during the Japan Expo SUD 2023 in France, Dragon Ball Super Superheroes animation director Shikashi Kubota revealed that despite the animators being unionized and the company operating in the black, things behind the scenes weren't perfectly tied up with a bright red ribbon. Continuing, Kubota explained that one of his conditions for signing on to Dragon Ball Super Superheroes was that Toei Animation allowed for some 2D sequences to be featured in the movie, which in turn resulted in the beautiful remastered recap of relevant events from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z seen at the start of the film. As per a live tweet of the panel provided by French anime and manga's news website mangaanimation.net, Kubota first detailed how, like the Toei Animation staff members referenced by Hayashida, he also believed it was a shame that Dragon Ball Super Superheroes was completely 3D, particularly as he feels 2D illustrations lend themselves more easily to creative expression animation. However, after playfully noting that he already told the aforementioned Hayashida that he should call him if Toei Animation ever gave the green light to do a full-on Dragon Ball remake, the animation director then admitted that because he had to animate the entire sequence himself and check all the 3D animations one by one, the recap's inclusion led to him regularly cutting it close on his deadlines. Ultimately, Kubota asserted that thanks to Toei Animation going all in on 3D animation, Dragon Ball Super Superheroes took a year and a half to produce, additionally noting that the first and last episodes of One Punch Man's first season, on which he likewise serves as series animation director, on parentheses, took a comparatively 6 months and 6 weeks to respectively produce. So there we go with that one. So we are done now with all the articles for the night. Um, so we'll get to wrestling wrap up here in a moment, and then get to niche history as we ready to close things out. All right. So, anyways, let me. Alrighty then. So with that, let's get to some wrestling wrap up, and then the wrestling wrap up, and then the niche history, Woody. So first off, so as WWE continues its march towards WrestleMania 39, um, there have been some interesting things coming out, like a couple of matches that are talked about. I don't know if they're confirmed yet, but Brock Lesnar looking to take on the Nigerian Nightmare Omos, and Bobby Lashley taking on Bray Wyatt look to be. I don't know if either one has been officially announced or signed yet, but those look like two more matches they're going to look to have at WrestleMania. Let's see. Former WWE superstar D.H. Smith, David Hart Smith, the son of the late Davey Boy Smith, basically says he, in a very profane way, said that he doesn't care if he goes back to WWE or not. Of course, D.H. Smith has made a name of himself, last year made a name for himself in the NWA, winning the NWA World Tag Team Championships over with his partner Doug Williams, only for him to be forced to give up the titles when he apparently contracted COVID and could not travel, could not defend the titles. Alexa Bliss hasn't been on TV since her loss to Bianca Belair, and she's right now not too happy with the WWE at the moment. So that, and the WWE is getting ready to move into their new building that they've been prepping for the last couple of years, I guess. So with that, that's all the WWE news I have for you. Now, For AEW, as they continue to make their way towards this Sunday's Revolution pay-per-view, last night's Dynamite, the final entrance into the four-way World Tag Team title match at Revolution were decided as in the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal. Danhausen and Orange Cassidy outlasted, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other teams. Wow. I guess Danhausen and Orange Cassidy must have replaced Best Friends. I thought Best Friends was in that match too, but apparently they weren't. They must have replaced Danhausen and Orange Cassidy for some reason. But Danhausen and Orange Cassidy, which I think there are some people who said that was a good thing. Some people, so this now sets up all four teams for the four-way match at Revolution for the AEW World Tag Team titles, with champions the Guns defending against the former champs, the Acclaimed, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, and Danhausen and Orange Cassidy, of course, the current All-Atlantic champion. And earlier in the night, of course, Orange Cassidy defeated Big Bill, retaining the All-Atlantic title in the process. In the Face of the Revolution ladder match, which set forth the winner of the Face of the Revolution ladder match would become the number one contender to the TNT title. Powerhouse Hobbs outlasted Action Andretti, AR Fox, Eddie Kingston, Commander, Konosuke Takeshita, Ortiz, and Sammy Guevara to become the Face of the Revolution, win the Face of the Revolution ladder match, and he's now the number one contender to the TNT title, which Samoa Joe will be defending at this Sunday's Revolution against Wardlow. So the winner of that match will be facing off against Powerhouse Hobbs in the near future. Chris Jericho defeated Peter Avalon, and Peter Avalon was unable to gain a certain amount of revenge. Hook retained the FTW title over Matt Hardy, and Riho defeated Tony Storm, a battle of two former AEW World Women's Champions here. Battle of two former AEW World Women's Champions, in which Riho, the first AEW World Women's Champion, won the belt. So they had a lot of setup for this Sunday's pay-per-view, with a lot of promos. More to come tomorrow night on Rampage. But aside from that, I guess we're done with the wrestling wrap-up now. So now, why don't we go ahead and start to close things out, as it is Thursday, March the 2nd, 2023. So why don't we take a look back at this day in Neat history. History! 93, 98, 98, 2013. Okay. So first off, we're going to head back to 1993, 30 years ago today. As on this date, 30 years ago today, the 415th issue of Captain America from Marvel went on sale on this date back in 1993, 30 years ago today. Now, this book started out as Tales of Suspense, and then at issue 100 was changed to Captain America. This Captain America comic, or Captain America Volume 1, not to be confused with Captain America Comics, which came out back in the 40s. The story was Savage Landings, written by Mark Grunwald, penciled by Richard Levins, inked by David Bolandi. Joseph Rosen did the lettering, and then George Rosos did the coloring. So on this date, 30 years ago today, the 415th issue of Captain America went on sale. And then, now, Niche history. Yep. With that, so 30 years ago today, Captain America Volume 1, number 415 went on sale on this date. So now we head back 25 years ago today, as on this date back in 1998. This date back in 1998. Oops. Okay, I actually put up the wrong thing there. On this date in 1998, the Fox Kids produced animated sitcom television series Life with Louie aired its final episode on this date back in final first run episode as far as I know. On this date back in 1998. On this date back in 1998, the animated sitcom Life with Louie from Fox Kids Network ended its run. 25 years ago. Yep. And let me tell you something. 1998 was just so nice that we're gonna hit it twice. And let's see what Life with Louie was hilarious. Great stuff. Yeah, you can't believe that the last first run episode was 25 years ago, huh? Anyways, also on this date 25 years ago, I did kind of skip over something here. On this date, also in 1998, WCW held its Monday Nitro event from the from the Philadelphia Core State Spectrum in Philadelphia. I guess Philadelphia Spectrum in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The main event saw Randy Savage and Sting with Miss Elizabeth in their corner defeat Hollywood Hogan and Scott Hall with Eric Bischoff in their corner via DQ. Bret Hart defeated Bryan Adams via DQ. Among some of the other notable, and since this was in Philadelphia, you did have quite an influence of former ECW stars there, as Booker T teamed with Dean Malenko to defeat Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero on the night. Conan defeated Super Kalo. Diamond Dallas Page retained the WCW United States Championship via DQ over Hammer. Bill Goldberg extended his undefeated streak by defeating Sick Boy. Public Enemy defeated Hugh Morris and Barbarian. Let's see. Chris Benoit defeated Riggs. So that's all with that. So 25 years ago, also was Monday Nitro. Was the WCW Monday Nitro held its show from the Philadelphia Spectrum in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And finally, final piece of neat history for tonight. On this date, 10 years ago today, a couple of anime movies debuted. Madhouse's Death Billards, which was based on the manga Death Parade, which also got an anime adaptation a couple years after this. The anime movie Madhouse's Death Billards, as well as Trigger's Little Witch Academia. Both movies debuted on this date 10 years ago today. This date 10 years ago today, Madhouse's Death Billards, based on the manga Death Parade, and Little Witch Academia from Trigger, both debuted on this date back in 2013. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope you all enjoyed the show. See, awesome. And don't forget, tomorrow night, our weekly look at comics history. Of course, last week we started in September of 1939. Tomorrow night, of course, we will be continuing our look at September 1939, focusing on, we're going to be looking at the founding of Archie Comics as MLJ Enterprises. We're going to be going over after, of course, doing some of the preliminary work of introducing us to MLJ Magazines Incorporated and also introducing us to Orangutan. And you'll learn who that is. We will be reading through Blue Ribbon Comic Volume 1, Number 1. And my co-host for tomorrow night will be R.J. Carter from Critical Blast. So join R.J. and myself as we look at the early at how Archie Comics came into being as MLJ Magazines Incorporated, and also we'll be reading through Blue Ribbon Comics Number 1, Volume 1, Number 1. So until then, everybody, I hope you all enjoyed the show, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.